I'm really enjoying the show so far. I just wonder if you could begin by just telling me a little bit about the kind of genesis of the project, kind of how this kind of first came to be and what set it on its way.
Well, as a person, a producer and a development person, you get a lot of books. And I picked this one up, Mr. and Mrs. American Pie, and read it and just loved it. I loved the setting of it. I loved the main character in Maxine and her wanting to get into this world. Later in the book, there's a really beautiful relationship with the character Robert. And it was a wonderful book, and it felt like the seedlings were there. It wasn't a TV show yet, but the seedlings were there. And so I was working with Laura Dern and Jamie Lemmons, and I showed it to them as producers and said, do you see something here like I see it? And they did, and they fell in love with it. They gave the book to Tate Taylor, who was our director of our first episode, and he really loved it as well. He introduced us to Abe, and it was really when Abe came on board that you go from a wonderful novel to the adaptation of a series, and that's not an easy leap to do. And this book, I think, spoke to Abe in ways that things that he had been thinking about over the years to write. And he presented us this plan for the show, characters like Laura Dern's character, which wasn't in the book, and so on and so forth. And so that took us on our way.
Yeah, because I mean, I love the look and feel of it, the kind of production design, the costumes. I mean, I'm just interested for you guys when you kind of create this world, you write these characters, you put them onto the page. Is it always quite an overwhelming kind of a feeling when you first walk on set and you see this world come to life? You see the characters right in front of you, you see the costumes, you see the sets. Is that quite a surreal but great kind of moment in your careers?
Absolutely. It's overwhelming. It's also gratifying. This is really hard work, and it takes a lot to realize something like this. And it was just amazing that we had the great partners that we had at Apple who saw it the way we did and said, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it right. And so they really had our backs the entire way. And so John Carlos, our production designer, and Alex Friedberg, our costume designer, and our Tricia Sawyer, our makeup head, Karen Bartok, our head of hair, like they all had the tools that they needed to fully realize this world. And yes, it was quite an overwhelming and moving thing to walk onto set and see what they were surprising us with every single day.
I mean, what a cast you guys have assembled as well. I mean, Kristen Wiig, Laura Dern, Allison Janney, I mean, Carol Burnett is in this. I mean, some real legends of the screen here. I mean, how is it kind of just being on set around? So not just talented actors, but people that are so kind of ingrained into the industry and they understand the industry so well that it must have felt like you were just surrounded by kind of like-minded creative talent that all kind of knew exactly what makes a show successful.
I think that's true, but they're also good friends. They come to set and they're there to do a job and have a good time doing it. And I'm so grateful that they all came on board, and I think it's a testament to our producer, our executive producer Laura Dern, and her being able to pick up the phone and call Kristen Wiig and pitch her this idea, and for Kristen to respond, and then you have the pedigree and the artistic excellence of Laura Dern and Kristen Wiig as your masthead, on which to build the ensemble. And I think the ladies and gentlemen who came on board with us were excited about that. The first conversation I had with Carol, and her character in the first few episodes, spoiler alert, is in a coma. And she wanted to hear more about where the character goes. But I think what she was most excited by was, she says, you have the best ladies in the business on your show, between Kristen, Laura, and at that point, Allison Janney had come on board. And she says, I want to play in that sandbox. Count me in.
It's interesting because we sort of take it for granted. But I mean, in the past week, I've interviewed Julianne Moore, Colin Farrell, Ewan McGregor, all for TV shows. When I was growing up, it really felt like there was a distinction between film and TV. They were almost like separate industries. But how exciting is it now to know that these shows that are on kind of different streaming platforms can attract such big names in a way that perhaps, 20 or 30 years ago, they might not have been able to?
I think television is right in step with movies in terms of making shows that are for adults and are about complex characters and complex themes. I think so much of the streaming era has been cinematic in its scope. and in its story ambitions. And so, these shows now, this is a 10-hour movie we made, not just an ongoing series, but it is of a cinematic quality.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, that's what they all say.
Hey, you guys!
Hey, you